Three-Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Back again are Kai, Jim, and Matt. I'm Kai, here to shepherd you through another weekly podcast episode, number 385 to be exact. The Ides of January. Yes, cold outside, but hot in the gym. The Weave are just heating up, and so is college basketball. Just one more college football game to get through before we take center stage. NFL playoffs, doesn't matter. Matthew, hello, Mr. New Dad, in the morning. How you doing, buddy? 7 a.m. on a Thursday. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to talk about the justification why Indiana football deserved to be in the playoff and why the SEC football is a sinking ship and how the Big Ten is. Yeah, Jim. So all that good stuff, that kind of all that first take type stuff. I thought we'd just pivot into that seamlessly at some point today.
Can't wait. Yeah, that sounds like something we really need on our docket. We'll speak very informed on that. Good. Perfect. Yep. I'm a little under the weather, getting the old chills, body aches, headache combination. We love to have that. So going to battle through with you boys on the pod here. Get one out for the people. We do that for you.
Jim, I appreciate you. And so does Matt, even though he just got up to probably tend to his baby. Again, Jim, we don't understand. What's a baby? How hard is a baby?
It's easy.
Good show today. A Roots Roundup, of course. Get you caught up on the news and notes. We saw that. Talk about big game performances. We're going to talk about UMass Fordham, too, because that game was absolutely nuts. Get some three-man thoughts, a little preview section at the end for big games coming up this weekend, and then a short review section. 2 reviews this week, one from YouTube, one from iTunes. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel you might be watching currently. Hit the like, subscribe to our YouTube. We do our daily Best Bet show on Saturday. We do our daily weekly podcast, weekly podcast and weekly Best Bet show here on this channel. Thursday podcast, Saturday Best Bet show. Please do subscribe.
Don't tease the people by saying daily.
No, not daily.
They're going to come after us if that's not the case.
Would that we could. Instagram and Twitter, yes, we're on there. 3MW_CBB is where you can find us. Of course, subscribe to the podcast on the podcast airwaves, iTunes, Spotify. Apologies, the podcast did not get up on Spotify for some reason, even though our feed says it did. So, strange, don't know why. We will reach out for support if it happens again. Okay, one more plug, the Discord. Please do join the best college basketball community on planet Earth. That is the Burner Discord. We're in there every single day talking betting, talking non-betting, just college basketball in general. There are plenty of other channels if you don't even like us that much to talk about college basketball. It really is an all-encompassing forum, and especially now with Indiana's head coaching search heating up, you're going to get all the inside scoops from Mr. Trilly Donovan himself. Be the first to know all the rumors about Indiana and all the other head coaching openings this offseason. All right, fellas, with that, let's start the show getting into Roots Roundup for some news and notes. Jim, take it away.
Let's do it. Talking news and notes, catching you up on what happened mostly off the court in college basketball. Our on the court catch up as we've saw that. But Matt, before we do, we got to give a shout out to a loyal sponsor of this podcast, one we adore and use frequently, CBB Analytics.
That's right, Jim. CBB Analytics, the holy godfather, the holy grail of college basketball analytics sites, running the gamut from individual to team level statistics, 40,000-foot view snapshots, individual 1-foot view breakdowns on specific players. We talk ad nauseum about how much we love using their shot chart, shot visualization chart stuff to understand, what players, what teams, where they're getting their shots from, are they getting high quality shots? Are they making those shots? Where are they surrendering shots? And again, we talked about this last episode, some new features that Nick and the team are rolling out throughout the rest of the season. They are unleashing their first official all-encompassing player metric, which incorporates both offensive and defensive data points. So just another, metric to kind of evaluate players side by side. Never easy to do, but love that they're stepping up there and trying to add that to their repertoire. And then now they're just recently rolling out what they're calling a new game explorer tool, which we talked about last time. Basketball reference type of tool here where you can kind of find some hyperboles, basketball or individual and team player performances best in certain context. Some of the game recap stuff they rolled out is really cool too. Kind of breaks down a lot of the the key takeaways from every game. Helps you go through box scores in a more efficient fashion. And also there's some new splits too. You can actually filter out some of the D2 and D3 stuff, which I think is nice. Sometimes on KenPom, I know KenPom does have that feature, but you can also add those in as well to kind of compare and contrast, especially early in the year. I found that very helpful. And again, some new stuff. So yeah, just a ton of stuff. Love what they're doing over there at CB Analytics. Make sure you guys check it out. Sign up today. Promo code WEAVE. That's WEAVE. $40 off a subscription. And if you want everything under the sun that they have, the full pro tier, please email us or DM us directly. We'll get you hooked up with that to get you set with me.
Not for free. You keep saying it like it's for free. We'll get you
No,
set
yeah,
up.
sorry. It's expensive, but it's awesome. It's for coaches.
It's expensive.
Super users.
I will say I used it last night when I saw Ace Baldwin was questionable game time decision. I looked at Penn State's on-offs. He is in the 99th percentile of net rating when he was announced in starting. Sprinkle a little bit on Penn State. Made some money as they covered at Michigan State. So thank you, CBB Analytics. All right.
Yeah, I've been on the Big Ten or the conference specific team stat pages, right? So you go to they have a separate page for Big Ten and Conference USA and all that stuff, and you can kind of break down all the the play-by-play advanced type stuff, which is cool.
Yes, indeedy. All right, first up, we're going to talk a coaching quote because we like to mention any of those that are specifically outlandish. Rick Barnes of Tennessee, after the weekend game at Texas when he benched Chaz Lanier in the first half, told reporters, "We benched him because he wasn't shooting. And that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to shoot. So the fact that he wasn't shooting meant he didn't need to be out there." It's awesome, Kai, that we've evolved to this, like, yeah, that's why we got him. That's why we paid him out of the portal. Why is he not shooting? That's his specialty. It's just great. I kind of love the frankness of it.
I love it. I wish my coach would have told me to shoot more in high school. What a fantastic vote of confidence from your coach. Yeah, I bet Chaz Lanier feels pretty good about that. You can't be mad about getting benched for not shooting, Jim. That's like the kindest benching there is.
Yep. Yeah, he's hit a little bit of a rut. Old Chaz, 25 points total in his last 3 games, 4 of 24 from deep. Just shoot through it, buddy. Shoot through it. That's what you do with slumps, especially when you're as good a shooter as he is. So we expect to see that coming up. Nothing in the recruiting world. The injury news, though. Mentioned on just about every college basketball podcast you'll find. Janai Broom, kind of a landscape shifting, potentially, type injury. He landed on the foot of a teammate when they were playing at South Carolina. Ankle rolled really bad. He looked alarmed, looked down at his foot like something was really wrong. The initial diagnoses are that he could be back sooner than later. It's a low ankle sprain. It's non-surgical, which is most important. Kai, I'm very curious how long they hold him out and at what level he's going to be when he returns. Yeah, I mean, they won by 20 over Mississippi State without him.
Without him, that's my take.
I don't know if they need him for. I think they can sit him for as long as he needs to sit because they're a lock for the tournament.
Right.
They're not a lock for a 1 seed. Obviously, you want to get a 1 seed, but heck, they're pretty darn good without him. Yeah, I hope he gets back soon though because hey, we're holding Janai Broom Player of the Year tickets and we want to win those, right, Jim?
I'm not, but I hope you.
Oh, you're not. Oh, yeah, I have 50 to 1. So
I'm just the guy that ranked him first in our top 100 player rankings and picked Auburn as my title winner and did not bet.
Oh yeah,
Janai Broom.
Well, I hope he comes back.
Yep, I'm a big dumb idiot. It was kind of crazy when he got helped off the court before he was over to the bench. Cooper Flagg was like a minus 200 favorite. Yep. The odds had totally flipped. People were worried he was going to miss the rest of the year. Flagg was going off for 40 at the time. Mm-hmm. More on that in a second. That was wild. Responsiveness by the old sports books. Other random news and notes. Kai Ziegler, staying in the Tennessee world, set the all-time steals record in Knoxville. In his 5th season there, he has been a monster defensively, multiple defensive player, at least one defensive player of the year in the SEC.
Yeah, 215 for his career, Jim, averaging 1.8 steals per game. He's been there 5 years. I did not know that. Yeah. I mean, it's flown by for him. He doesn't feel like one of those guys that's been there forever. I thought he was like a junior.
I guess he missed
trivia.
Like a year.
Yeah, he missed
with injuries. Yes, but still, I agree. Pillar.
Trivia for you guys. How many steals did Breonte Weber have in 4 years at VCU?
Oh,
213?
No, this is the Tennessee record. This is not the all-time national record.
Gosh, he had a lot. 300.
374.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had 121 in one season, and he only played 20 games his senior year. So
didn't he have 10 in one game a couple times? 10 steals in a game is just fucking stupid. That's just an insane number.
Matt's just explicit now that he's got a child.
It's fine.
He doesn't care. Yeah, wild. Impressive for Ziegler to break that record in Tennessee. Kai, that's it. Really short Roots Roundup. We can flip over to We've Saw That and go over results from this week.
I love it, Jim. We have a nice We've Saw That section here. Big ones to discuss. And when I say ones, I mean big games. Mizzou beat Florida. Hooray, hurrah, Mizzou.
Fight for old Mizzou.
That's kind of our, I was not really doing our melody there. Yes, huge win. I actually have a thought about this game. Mostly has how it revolves around reffing and coaching, but suffice to say, Mizzou, huge win over the Gators. Enormous 3-1 in the SEC is crazy. Uh, yes, we'll talk about that in a sec. Likewise, Ole Miss winning at Alabama, and man, we're finally starting to get the Chris Beard returns that we kind of expected from Ole Miss after he had a slow start to his tenure. That's impressive. And then finally, Kentucky winning at Mississippi State. So we talked about, Matthew, how good SEC home has been. The road teams had their week here with three huge wins.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the updated stats here. Give me 1 second. I have it.
I'll jump in while you look.
Go ahead, Jim. Yes, thank you.
What is going on with Chris Beard? What happened last year? His defensive rankings this is at over 3 different schools, last like 7 years. 4th, 1st, 9th, 18th, 14th, 141st last year, and then back up to 11th this year with personnel that I don't think is like blow you away defensively, but the forcing turnovers like crazy, the charge thing not impacting them as much anymore. They're actually rebounding the ball. So yeah, Beard and Adams look back together there in Oxford.
Yeah, last year was just an anomaly. I really believe it was. I almost feel like those really awkward large rim protectors sort of like trying to play what's the 7-footer from Western Kentucky's name? I'm like blanking. Like it just
Sharp. Yeah.
Sharp. It just was like so
terrible rebounder.
Weird. I don't know. Yeah, like the spacing was bad, and I don't know if he was actually a great positional defender, and they had to like overcompensate for him. But yeah, I mean, Chris Beard, I think the track record was too long to doubt it, just because last year was one stupid portal screw up in terms of defense.
He's got Mark Adams back too. There you go.
Yeah, Adams definitely helps. I mean, they've got like Murray, Morrell, Brakefield, a bunch of guys that were part of that horrible defense last year that are just a lot better on that end. Padula's been a fiend on the ball, so shout out to them.
Yeah, and speaking of road teams, Iowa State coming back from, I actually don't know how much they were down, and I watched most of this game. Anyways, they were down considerably at Texas Tech in Lubbock, one of the best home court advantages in the country, and they won in overtime. A huge missed opportunity for Texas Tech to get a quality win, and then another feather in Iowa State's cap, who just beat Kansas also last night, looking like a bona fide 1 seed come tournament time.
Yeah, it reminds me, we should mention Milan Momcilovic's injury for Iowa State. He's going to be out like a month, I think. They said indefinite, but it's like a wrist type injury. He was in a cast. That did not slow them down at all last night because Curtis Jones is like Mighty Morphin All-American right now. He just went nuts. Their guard trio is ridiculous. Iowa State's awesome right now.
Yeah, first Keyshawn Gilbert turns into an all-league player, and now Curtis Jones is like a first-team all-conference caliber player.
9th in Ken Pom Player of the Year, National Player of the Year ranks. He's 9th.
Curtis Jones is the one, like the holy cow, TJO is crushing the portal. Like he was at Buffalo. I mean, he was a nice player, but I mean, he's like the most feared shooter in the Big 12 at this point, it seems like. I mean, that guy pulls from anywhere, and I think it's going in half the time, and it feels like it does.
And I still think the most important guard is neither of those guys. It's the guy that scores less. It's Taman Lipsey. They're a really good team. Momcilovic being out, honestly, it doesn't matter that much for the next month or so. Arizona, speaking of the Big 12, staying in the Big 12, quietly coming back up the totem pole here. Just crushed Baylor. They're 5-0 now in the Big 12 after a rough non-con where they won pretty much nothing. No quality wins for Arizona. Now they're starting to stack them up. We can breathe a sigh of relief. Tommy Lloyd is going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yep, no stress there. They're up there with Houston and Iowa State right now at the top of the standings. I don't think they're up there quality-wise, but record-wise, they're there. And they go to Texas Tech on Saturday. Big one.
Yeah, we hope he gets the tournament bugaboo off his back. I'm tired of hearing that narrative. I think it's going to grow really loud this season when they get there.
Yeah, maybe. Really he won't be a 1 or a 2 seed this year, so maybe he'll be more comfortable starting from a lower spot in the totem pole. I don't know. We'll see. Although more prone to upsets, you would think. The Muss Bus, on the other hand, so Arizona's in gear. Well, actually, I forgot Muss Bus wasn't in Arkansas again. I was thinking Arkansas is terrible this year, by the way. Check out John Calipari, the job he's done this season over there in Fayetteville. But the Muss Bus might be back in gear. One at Illinois, USC did now. No Casper Yakuchionis for Illinois, but still a big win on the road at the State Farm Center, a.k.a. Assembly Hall. And then you win against Iowa. Again, no fans in the stands there. It's at USC, but put up 99 points, scoring a ton. I tell you what, Desmond Claude, Jim, looked like a superhero against Illinois. He was truly impressive.
Yeah, he had 56 points over 2 games. He was a monster. We got all the Xavier fans influencing us in our Discord, calling him Desmid fraud.
Yeah, right.
And here he is engineering two completely nuclear offensive performances against two pretty good, well, sorry, one good defense in Illinois, one not good defense in Iowa. But he's kind of getting wherever he wants on the floor. He's turning the ball over a little bit, but he's shooting it. It's just the slashing, the downhill ability, mismatch type stuff. That's kind of what the goal was with this roster. Get a bunch of bigger wings that can handle it. And it's starting to show up against Big Ten competition.
The Big Ten's
Yeah,
very good. Matthew, sorry, I thought you were going to jump in. Big
no, I
Ten,
was sorry. Go ahead.
no. You have a thought. Go ahead.
I was just surprised that like I thought this team was gonna be like St. Thomas's team, and now it's like now it's gonna be Desmond Claude's team. I think that's where that needs to pivot to. That makes more sense to me at this level.
I was going to say the Big Ten's awesome. I think they have like 11 teams in the top 50 of the net. So USC is not dead by any means for the tournament. Plenty of opportunities. Right now they're eighth on both offense and defense in league play. Right in the middle, that might get it done. So Musselman and USC very much still alive for the NCAA tournament. Shout out to Canisius. Hooray, they won their first game of the season. They're now 1-15. They beat Rider. I bet 4 Metro Atlantic games today. I don't know why I did that because this league's impossible. I don't know what I'm thinking. Hope I win, but the Metro Atlantic, aka the MAC, is an impossible league to predict. Good luck to Kai tonight.
You're a masochist.
Yes,
You're a masochist, Mr. McEwen.
Okay, Fordham UMass. Let's talk this game. You guys are talking about Fordham and UMass? Yeah. Why? It was an insane game. Triple overtime. These teams, well, I'm not sure it was very fun to watch for most of this game, to be honest, because these teams combined for 122 free throw attempts. 122 free throw attempts is 8 shy of the all-time record. 79 combined fouls in this game, which are 5 short of the all-time record. And 9 guys fouled out. I think Fordham was playing walk-ons at the end of the game. That is an all-time record. And how they got there was just as crazy. In double overtime, Fordham was down 3, shot a half quarter with 0.4 seconds. Matthew, if you remember the Show Me games back when we were young, this exact thing happened to us, which was nuts. And the refs called a foul. He hit all 3 free throws from Matt Dean, I believe it was, to send the game to triple overtime. Absolutely nuts. Again, free throw, if we talk about records, they're also 3 away from the all-time free throws made record in this game, too. So, historic game in Rose Hill, which is 100 years old. John Fanta pointed out the oldest venue that primarily hosts Division I men's college basketball. So very cool fact from Mr. John Fanta. Yeah, crazy game. I don't know if we should be calling a foul on half-court shot, though.
Yeah, it's let the players decide it, but if it's a foul, you sort of got to call it. I did not see the foul, so I do not have a
testament
on whether it was or not.
He hit him. I agree. The refs, I feel like, are looking to make the drama call there. But man, just I think we don't need to handicap player stupidity and poor coaching. I just to kind of dovetail this into the point Jordan Majeski's been making about it's a lot harder to foul up 3 at times. And I agree with that. I think there's too much criticism placed on teams that don't do it correctly, because I think more and more teams are starting to counter it with, jacking it up one, you starting to foul. This was not that. This was a guy just caught it and shot it, and whoever it was, I jumped, swiped, lunged into him, and got him right on the arm. It's just like that is not acceptable. It's just unacceptable. And Frank Martin, and I would think for the drill sergeant general that would be maybe discussed in the timeout or 2 prior to that, but who knows.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very stupid, obviously. Why are you contesting a half-court shot? It makes no sense. 0.4 seconds. It happened. And Rasul Diggins, shout out Rasul Diggins, he had 46 points in this game. A once very, very, very highly sought-after recruit at UConn has sort of reemerged at UMass the last couple of years. Okay, triple-doubles and 40-point games. We've turned this into pretty much massive games. There are a lot of 40-point performances, though. Jim mentioned it in the injury section. Yeah, as soon as Broom went down, well, Cooper Flagg had his masterpiece. 42 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists against Notre Dame. Cooper Flagg, Jim, pretty good player. Were we crazy to rank him as a top 3 player heading into the year?
No, we were not. I think everybody that used their eyeballs to watch him felt the same way, regardless of what his averages were on his high school team that was completely loaded, as we've seen this year. Basically, everybody from that roster is breaking out into a top 10 draft pick. Yeah, he's incredible. You watch Duke, and they've got a ton of length, and Proctor's maturing. James gives them great defense in the backcourt. Knipple can shoot, but it's Flagg makes them go. He's just such a good passer. He's always in the right spot. He can score. He can pass. He just does everything, and that's kind of what we thought coming in. He's a jack of all trades.
I remember I made the maybe a bad comparison, but I kind of thought it would be like a Chet Holmgren type freshman year where his dominance would be somewhat underwhelming to the public eye from a scoring perspective, but underrated in like every other aspect. But I think he's like even supersede that where he's just been dominant in all facets. Like obviously his point production is still pretty damn. What's the average right now? I think 20
I'm not sure he's quite
I
at
think it's
20.
sub 20. I think it's like
Yeah.
18.9.
20-ish. Yeah, okay. Right. But again, I think he is again superseded that even for me, but that's what makes him great is all the other stuff and just his defensive versatility and how he anchors what I mean, it's been just an absolute monster defense for the Devils.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Duke's really, really, really good. Tournament Final Four or bust. I think it's a big disappointment if they don't get there this year. Bakersfield, Jamel Jones, 45 points in a big comeback win against CSUN. Shocking, honestly. Thought CSUN had that game, and Jamel Jones said, no, 45 points. Bakersfield's a weird team. Again, don't bet weird teams. Bakersfield's strange. Tough to get a finger on.
Yeah, this was a best bet for me. I was on CSUN. They're up 15 at half, feeling good. North Dakota State at Bakersfield did the same weird late collapse where Bakersfield got scaldingly hot late, and they've never done that when I've been on their side. So, yeah, Kai, I'm going to leave the Roadrunners alone.
Oral Roberts, Isaac McBride, who is somehow still in college. This must be his 10th year. He had 44 points in a 110-96 loss to North Dakota State. Oral Roberts is terrible. This is a huge step back for the program the last couple seasons, and this one particularly. I don't think Springman's the guy. You score 1.4 points per session, and you still lose by double digits. That's Oral Roberts this year, and the Summit in general.
Yeah, their defense is complete layup line.
It's not there.
You get whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Tulsa basketball, the town of Tulsa basketball needs a makeover next year.
It's a vortex now. It's a
just
void.
Tough. Yeah.
Pacific's Lamar Washington, 40 points, 16 of 22 shooting. As Pacific takes down Washington State in Pullman. Incredible win. Dave Smart, pretty good coach at Pacific. Hopefully he's there for the next couple of years. He's going to get things rolling, I think, over there in Stockton.
Yeah, they need more bodies. Sitting 300th in Ken Palm. They followed it up with a 36-point home loss to Oregon State. But hey, they dug in deep for this one, and Washington carried them.
I think the Dave Smart versus Mike DeGeorge career, next 3 years will be a fun juxtaposition. DeGeorge kind of got the mojo early, although he's real. I mean, they've I think
like 0-6 in the Big West
in conference play. Even though they're still
a lot of
really
close
good league
losses
this year. Yeah, a lot of close
great
losses. Pacific, I think are we gonna doubt Dave Smart because he wasn't awesome in year one? No, it's probably not fair. But it's just funny. The year one for these coaches who you respect can really go. If it goes well, it's wow, great for you. But man, it can go the other way too if your players just are patched together. All right, just get that guy and that guy, and let's hope it works. And it doesn't always.
Pacific, yeah, he was down on his talent too. So I think Smart knew this was coming. Bad loss section, UCLA. I think we had a thought where we picked our Big Ten champion going forward, and UCLA was sitting 2-0. I think I said UCLA. Whoops, mistake. They've lost 4 in a row. Mick Cronin's mad. Mick Cronin was angry when they were up 10 points at Rutgers, or they're up I guess 3 at Rutgers at halftime. Cronin was already complaining. I think it's tough to win when your coach is consistently negative, even when you're winning the ball game. Not blaming it all on Mick, but just saying UCLA is in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, I want to know what coaches see when they look at Sky Clark and Cannon Carlisle. And are you just seeing stuff that isn't there? I don't get it. He continues to be one of the lineup mainstays for UCLA, despite the frustration from Cronin about their toughness and delusional. I don't know. I'm surprised he's playing more than Stefanovic and more than Dylan Andrews. Maybe Andrews is one of the delusional guys, but they got to straighten it out fast or they could really drift. The Big Ten, Kyle, like you said, easily the second best league now in the country behind the SEC. It is unforgiving.
It really is. Yeah, Big 12 falling down to 3. Still a pretty good league, too. St. Bonaventure, they lost at home to LaSalle. Wow, a running, banked-in buzzer beater, LaSalle. That's how they beat St. Bonnie's. Yeah, the A-10, they're dead for multiple bids. Dayton, once again, lost a head-scratcher. They just lost George Mason at home.
They're second last in the A-10, Dayton. What's going on?
That is the weirdest collapse, I think, of the entire year so far, Matthew. The Dayton just becoming a nobody after, in the non-con, it looked like they were just as good as last season.
It was they just had almost too good of a start to non-con, right? To go to Maui, do what they did, and then even to come back and they had 2 huge games in that early December period, right? You got Marquette. To beat Marquette at home.
Beat Marquette. Beat UConn.
Right, And I think they just like exhaled. And the problem is that the exhale's been the outward breath has been too long. It's time to kind of buckle down. And now I think at this point is they're probably dead for the at large, right? I think they were probably bubbleless until last
They're
night. And
dead.
now they're dead. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if they win their next, they run the table. Maybe it's possible. Opponents are shooting 40% from three and 80% from the line against them in A10 play. Yeah, those are both bottom two in the conference. 80% from the line. You can't control some things, but I'm not sure it's the reason they're getting blown out right now. And then New Mexico fell to San Jose State. The Spartans almost pulled off the Utah State win, and then they did it against the Lobos. So impressive by San Jose State. New Mexico, man, every year they drop just a couple head scratchers that sends them right down to the bubble, it seems. They are very much teetering. Utah State in control of the Mountain West race. However, Utah State just lost to UNLV just last night. So the Mountain West, a little bit of intrigue this year.
Shout out to Rocco Miller. He had a tweet about Tim Miles where he went to a golf store and bought a Snowman 8 hat, which represents like a triple bogey on a 5, on a par 5. And he's like, I've got this because I think we can win 8 league games. It's like, all right. All right. I love that confidence. We can be under 500 in the league. Let's do this.
Timmy Miles is a gem. He's a peach of a human. Finally, I'm adding in one new section, and this is reserved for bad coaching instances that we see and we watch. I just saw one that I want to say, and these are going to be pretty obscure sometimes. This one is obscure. At the end of the first half, Xavier Villanova under their basket, 1 second left. What can you do in that situation? Well, you're probably going to throw it deep. They put Eric Dixon down there under the rim. Smart. What does Xavier do? Xavier put 6'2" guard Darius Maddox on Eric Dixon, one-on-one. Dixon standing under the basket. The guy makes a perfect pass. By the way, the man on the ball is not overplaying the strong hand. Makes no sense to me. Sure. Passer chucks it. Dixon, easy catch, bucket. Didn't count, ended up getting after the time, but still. What are you doing, Sean Miller? What do you think they're going to do in that situation? Just let him catch in the backcourt.
Makes no sense to me, Kai. I don't get it. Match up your heights. Seems pretty basic.
Okay. All right. That's my rant.
Are you a go zone out of timeout guy? I've seen a lot of coaches.
I'm for it, or at least like for the first couple passes, I've seen some coaches do that. I think you know what I like? I think I forgot who I stole this from because I think somebody does this. First pass, blitz it, double team it, right out of a timeout.
Yeah, I agree.
Screw the play up immediately. I think
UNC fans always are like,
yeah, Roy
Williams once a game would just blitz a ball screen out of a timeout. It's like, turnover.
Genius. It completely messes up the flow because all the players are thinking about is play. We're robots. I love it. Okay. That does it. We saw that going into 3-man thoughts. But first, an ad from Home Field. Home Field Apparel. I'm rocking my Home Field Apparel once again today. I usually do. In this day,
I'm wearing my new pants, Kai. They're super comfy.
Jim's got his joggers on. I'm sure Matt's lovely wife is rocking the Indiana sweatshirt that he just got her.
No,
hopefully.
Sorry,
no, but Home Field does make the best collegiate apparel in the country for schools of all sizes, heck, the world. For Power 5 schools, for D3 schools, it doesn't matter. They have your school, most likely. They dig through years of archives of your school to understand the school itself, the fan base. They make thoughtful designs in their shirts. They're beautiful. They're hilarious in some cases, especially when you have an anteater on a surfboard like UC Irvine. And they print these unique designs on the most comfortable t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies you'll ever own. They truly are a work of art in the college apparel world. Homefieldapparel.com is where you can go to shop your school. If you don't have your school, send them a tweet. Tell them to get on it. We just had a guy send them a tweet about St. Mary's. Would love to get some Gale gear in there. I'm sure they got some great designs. I know they just came out with a couple of new ones for Providence and Drake, among other schools. Very, very, very cool stuff. Homefieldapparel.com. Shop them. 15% off your first purchase with our promo code 3MW at checkout. That's Homefield. Wear one for the team. Okay, Matthew, do you want the first crack at this, or do you want me to pass it to Jim?
Let's see. Jim, what is your first thought? Jim, do you want it? So mine is in mid-majory. I don't know if we want to start right with the mid-major. I want to maybe start big picture with bigger.
Fine, I'll start Big Ten. Two Big Ten teams.
Yeah,
Wisconsin and Michigan could frankly qualify here too, but I'm focusing on two very scorching hot Big Ten teams. I don't feel like you're getting as much love as maybe Michigan especially is. Michigan had the late night wins out west, and I think they got a lot of plaudits for that. But Purdue and Michigan State are absolutely rolling right now. They both got wins last night, overnight on Wednesday, and they continue to just sky up the rankings, part of the Big Ten surge. Purdue's won 6 in a row. They're up 15 spots in Ken Palm to number 12. Both these teams, you can draw a straight line between their winning streak and a starting lineup change, which I think, makes it kind of fun and okay, this is probably sustainable given that the moves they're making have set up well for their play going forward. Matt Painter put Caleb First, who everybody had written off forever, into the starting lineup, and CJ Cox. So giving them a little bit more three guard, two true big, like a split. They don't have the tweeners of Miles Colvin and Cam Heide out there. So you got more versatility off the bench. But those guys are playing great in league play. Purdue is just smashing. Again, the 6 straight games they've won by a combined 122. So average of over 20 a game. Purdue is kind of cooking right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
sorry, Jim, go ahead.
the other continuity-based team, Michigan State, both these teams really get criticized for not using the portal enough, and yet here they are. Michigan State's won 10 in a row. They're up 30 spots in Ken Palm, just so consistent on a night-to-night basis. They put Trey Holloman into the starters in the final game in Maui, and they have not lost since. My guy Jeremy Fears has been super efficient in league play, 45 assists, 11 turnovers. That ratio rocks. I loved him. I always believed in him. They're playing two true bigs, a little like Michigan, helps their defense. And they're number 1 in the Big Ten in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency, which is really impressive given what I just told you about Purdue's margins and how good Michigan's been. Sparty is legit, and I think there's people waiting for them to, the bottom to drop out, man. I know you've been on them to win the Big Ten, but I don't think it's falling out anytime soon.
No, this is where it's funny. I was going to use this platform to declare my love for Illinois and my how wrong I was in the preseason and all that stuff, and just kind of repent for my sins. But Michigan State, my continued Big Ten baby, is bashing teams right now. I think it's like it looks a lot like, I don't make the Cassius Winston comparison, but like the transition attack looks like that deadly, just with how many, and I think the depth's been a big part of that. I think all those guards have really matured. We were sort of worried about the, maybe the immaturity of those guys. I mean, because they are still relatively young. That's the thing about Michigan State and Illinois both. Like they're still relatively young by Big Ten current portal standards, but still crushing teams in different ways. Obviously, transition being the key impetus for both. Kai.
I think Purdue's young too. If you want to like throw that,
you're right. It's a good point.
I think the three youngest teams are like Illinois, Michigan State, and Purdue, or they're up there in top 5-ish or so.
Purdue's younger on the wing and up front, where Illinois, Michigan State, I guess, are younger in the backcourt. But still, generally, all three are youngest compared to Michigan and Indiana and all the other portal teams.
Purdue. I mean, the reason no one's talking about these teams because they're boring. Like it's always Purdue and Michigan State. It's no flashy transfers really. It's build up from the program. And they should be talking about him. I wish I would have said Purdue instead of UCLA a couple weeks back. Braden Smith, Jim, leads the country in assist rate, shooting 41% from 3. He's been incredible.
Yep, he rocks. I mean, he's just probably the best pick and roll operator in the entire country. He just controls it. He can shoot off the pull up, the little Chris Paul elbow fadeaway, finds open guys at all times. You can't double him. I think both are fun to watch. It's just they've gotten metronomically good over the years, and people, like you said, Kai, they're almost sick of them. Like, good again, whatever, write them off. That's it. That's my thought.
All right, Matt, do you want to go or me to go? Your choice.
Yeah, I want to talk
decisive.
a few.
Here we go.
I'll do it. I'm going to talk some mid-major teams. And I was thinking about this because I've been hearing some coaches talk about the kind of bemoaning the frustration of like, we're a one-bid league. It's a neutral site crapshoot conference tournament that decides our fate at the end of the year. Which is a bummer, but I do think it's fun to kind of take a quick sneak peek at what teams, for those listening that aren't paying attention maybe to who might emerge from these crapshoot type pools, teams that I like versus teams that might be the consensus favorite. And I wanted to kind of start by talking about the Big West because I just want to revisit how awesome of a game/situation that was between the UC Irvine, UC San Diego last weekend. Like having two teams that like are analytically ranked inside the top 75 is absolutely insane. I think UC Irvine's kind of a household brand, but I think they're even taking it to a new level this year with what they've done. I think they've won 10 road games, which is I think a record to this point in the season, which is crazy. They played an absolute murderer's row of a schedule. And then UC San Diego, D3, 6 years ago, completed the transition. Now they are a top 75 team by most metrics, beat Utah State at Utah State. Great game. So I think that sort of is the table setter for my thought here. I'm hoping one of those two teams comes out of the Big West because I think the Big
Yes,
West
please.
winner. However, if the Fighting UC Riversides were to emerge, I will in no way be upset by that. But currently, Irvine slated as like a 12 seed. And I think if UC San Diego were to win it, they'd probably be pretty close. I mean, maybe 13. I don't know if they
I
have
think it'd be a
the
12 as
Hest.
well. Yeah. I
Okay,
think both of
yeah.
them probably around 12. Yeah.
Um, and how about Conference USA, which I think is people forget about. It's not as fun anymore because it's sort of like the most random. It's kind of like the shell of the old American. Uh, I mean, Liberty is technically I think who people think of. New Mexico State, though, right? Kind of a little resurrection after what the hell happened to that program 2.5 years ago? Jason Hooten, the fixer-upper, disaster last year, really made hay last seasons at Sam Houston. He's got this team 3-0. They look really good. Like, it's a talented team. They kind of look like an actual cohesive unit, and it's just cool to see New Mexico State looking like the notable mid-major darling brand that it was under Jans. Not nearly to that level yet, obviously, but like that's where it's trending. Um, and again, I hope they get there. I don't know if you guys have any CUSA thoughts or babies of that conference, but they are coming. The Aggies are coming.
Just some, I mean, we saw them beat Mexico in the non-con. Like maybe there was a sign there, but they're number one offense and defense through 3 games in Conference USA.
Yeah, that's on both ends.
Is shocking. They're number one 2-point field goal percentage on both ends, which is a pretty good indicator as well. Yeah, Hooten is a great coach. We've always liked Hooten, but they are better right now than I expected at this point.
This league is a complete toss-up, and they are, like you said, are number one in offense, number one in defense. They're the only undefeated left, and they're plus 850 to win the league.
Maybe with
the
they haven't actually gone on the road yet, Jim. That's the only concern. I guess they went on the road to their crosstown rival but yeah, that's a pretty close
cross-border
easy trip.
Border
Yeah,
rival.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, love them. And then speaking of home versus road, we used to call this team Omaha. Nebraska Omaha has been last year's UMKC in the Summit, right? We kind of talked about how there was this random out of nowhere Rue surge, and the Rues have been good, but Omaha just smacked them last week, and they're kind of sitting in the driver's seat of a conference that features St. Thomas at 4-0, a game behind. But this Omaha team is like kind of real, and I watched them play last week, and they have a categorically better athlete than most of the Summit teams. I think, Kai, would you probably prefer to see St. Thomas, like sort of akin to the UC San Diego story, D3 transitioner?
St. Thomas not eligible yet.
They're not eligible
this year. It's next year. It's next year.
Yep.
No, I want.
Well, then I think my thought holds. It'll be Omaha then.
I want North Dakota State in the tournament, frankly, because I think they're fun. But Omaha has been 5-0. I think Crutchfield, by the way, has done a fantastic job getting that program back.
Yeah,
he's built a little bit every single year. Now, I will say about them, teams are shooting 31% from three against them in conference play, and they've played like North Dakota State and South Dakota State. So I think it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I don't think this team's going to finish. In fact, I probably wouldn't say top 3 in this league by the end of the year. But still, a good story and a great run they've been on.
Yeah, NDSU's gotten a lot of love out there because they're number one in the country in both 3-point attempt rate and 3-point percentage.
Yeah,
so it just bombs away. 55% of their points are 3-pointers. They've got Jackson Money, who Evan Mia recently tweeted. Evan Miyakawa, his site has him the number one rated offensive player in the country because of his passing impact at 6'11". He can shoot. He's just a complete freak in that league. And yeah, their entire rotation shoots 45% from three.
Yeah, one at Butler. Moni, I think for NBA guys, Moni's going to be the guy. It's like, oh, who's this dude? Like he could, he's been getting some fringe second round discussion with his skill set. So I think they have the most talent for sure. But I still think Omaha's impressed me the most. And then the MAC, the single A MAC. Ugh. And there are other neutral site mid-major leagues. I just think these were the ones that kind of jumped to mind as like, I found a team that I really like that maybe people aren't talking about. How about Travis Steele, the Red Hawks? This team's got like actual talent, and I think he was sort of taken for granted as a coach because he obviously didn't live up to the Xavier standard. But you watch his teams play, like they do run excellent action. And I think he has sort of been over ridiculed as a bad coach, but I think he's a very good X and O coach, Kai, but just maybe wasn't up to the rest of the CEO type of job that it requires to be at a big time Big East conference program. And I watched the team play twice. They have some Power 6 conference. They have a kid from Rutgers who's a beast. I think they could actually mess around and win the league, especially with teams like Akron, who looks really good, but maybe not as dominant years past. Toledo looks kind of down, and the rest of the match just like whatever. So I don't know. Thoughts?
I'll push back. I still think Steele's not a good coach. Yeah, he's had talent at Miami of Ohio the last 2 years, and they've underperformed.
This is a different.
Both times.
They're better this year.
They've played a pillow fight of a schedule in MAC play. They're 4-0. It's the worst schedule in the league so far. And the bottom of the MAC is like shaving points. Like, frankly, nobody in the bottom
Almost
five.
Yes.
Nobody in the bottom of that five like wants to win. It's actually crazy. Like a smart person would fade Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Buffalo, Northern Illinois every single game because they don't want to cover games or win. It seems.
The WAC in the Missouri Valley, I was sort of maybe I'll table those. If we have any profound thoughts on those leagues, but I still think those are still kind of very much up in the air right now. I mean, we talked about, Drake kind of is in the same vein as the UC San Diego new coach, just well coached in general. But that's it. Those three are the three, or sorry, those four are the four I wanted to talk about, guys. So my thought concludes. Mid majors,
fantastic
for you.
Okay, I'll take the mic and let's talk Mizzou, Florida. And again, it's not just going to be about the game. I really want to focus on coaching and then refereeing. I know Jim has a bit of a thought too in terms of
I'll weave it in here.
Reffing, yes. So coaching. Oh boy. Gates, I think, was fortunate a little bit in this game. Mizzou was piss hot to start. We outworked the Gators. We know a guy on the staff. He said Mizzou, frankly, punked us. And first time they've been punked all season. So Mizzou was up for this game. Fantastic effort, great shooting. But a couple weird coaching decisions by Gates. And I'm going to be criticizing my own guy a little bit here. Getting up double digits in the first half and then putting in Peyton Marshall, our 7-foot freshman center, who can barely run. Just not ready to play at this level. He played 3 minutes. He picked up 2 fouls, including like a full-on shove of a guy. Strange decision. No surprise. Florida started to come back a little bit when he was on the floor. At the end of the game, the last 6 minutes, putting T.O. Barrett, another freshman, in the game. Now, people are getting a little defensive about this on Twitter, saying Barrett's awesome, blah, blah, blah. I think eventually he will be awesome. He's not awesome this year. He had a 33% turnover rate coming into the game, but more importantly, he hadn't played a single minute in that game before the 6-minute mark in a game where Florida's coming back, in a game where Anthony Robinson, Mizzou's kind of heart and soul at the point, had 4 fouls, not 5 fouls. What is Gates saving him for? Playing him over him and over Marcus Warwick, who played 3 minutes, a senior fifth-year point guard who has been in the situation before. It's a bizarre decision. Now, Barrett, he was fine. He had 2 solid plays on offense. He had an assist, a nice little pick-and-roll play. But he also fumbled a rebound out of bounds. He nearly turned it over in a crucial moment at half court, kind of fumbling with the ball.
Fouled a 3-point shooter.
Fouled a 3-point shooter. Florida was shocked that he played. Per sources, they don't know what he was doing, and frankly, so was I. Mizzou was -3 with him on the floor. I don't like plus-minus necessarily, but the point is they didn't extend the lead with him on the floor. And then finally, drawing up inbounds plays at the end of the game to not get 95% free throw shooter Tamar Bates the ball at the end of the game. Instead, he was taking it out and not cutting to the ball.
Taking it out, unless you're going right back to him, you cannot have him be the guy taking it out.
Mark Mitchell gets the ball. I don't think Florida wanted to foul, but they're like, wait, you're giving the ball to Mitchell? Okay, we're going to foul him. He's a 55% free throw shooter. Luckily, he made both. But yeah, I just can't excuse that type of coaching. That's just obvious things. Playing percentages at the end of the game. Okay, thoughts on coaching, or do you want me to go to reffing?
No, go for it.
I have reffing thoughts.
The refs in this game were insane. The reviews in college basketball are crazy. This game might have set a new record for insanity. Double-digit reviews in this game. There was a play where Tony Perkins from Mizzou swung his elbows with the ball, hit Elijah Martin's and his balls. Martin fell. There was no offensive foul called on this play, but the refs stopped the game because Martin went down. I don't even think you're supposed to stop the game, number one. After going to the monitor, the refs decided it was a flagrant 2 foul. Perkins ejected from the game. Again, no call on the floor was made. None. Now, the rule is if you hit non-incidental contact with the groin, automatic ejection.
This was incidental.
But
it was incidental.
He's not trying to hit him in the penis. I mean, what the heck?
The rule is designed for Chris Paul people punching you in the nuts.
Yes.
That is not what happened here. This is clearing space in a square-up triple threat. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, and Martin's in his space. Again, no foul is called. That's just like what blows my mind. And then a similar situation, a Florida guy got called for a foul. Hauff got called for a foul. They went to their monitor review because Golden, Florida's coach, asked for a review. They flipped it to a hook and hold flagrant on Grill and took away the foul from Hoff, who would have fouled out if that foul stood. That is also one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Flipping a foul the other way, I don't even know how that's possible and why that's allowed. Because it basically says that the call on the floor doesn't matter. Why not the whole game be reviewed?
I'm just sick of anything coaches ask for gets reviewed in the final 2 minutes. Even if like a guy on a team throws it intentionally out of bounds, be like, I'll look at it. I got tipped. Give me a free timeout.
Guy's holding his eye.
It cannot be that way. It's why there needs to be just a limited number of challenges. Even if you want to give them 2, whatever, but it should be 1. But it can't be 10. And that's basically what it is right now. Anything that gets requested gets a review, slows the game down badly. Ugh, this was a mess to watch.
And in the realm of review, Jim, so another play, Florida guy grabbed a rim on a foul, clear goaltending. But because they didn't call goaltending on the floor, they couldn't review the goaltending. So they couldn't give that Mizzou the goaltend.
This stupid rule that gets called. So everybody calls goaltending no matter what. If the guy's even looking at the ball near the rim, it gets called goaltending so they can go back and look at it. And then this one where the guy fully grabs the rim and it pops out, they don't call it. It's the inconsistency of it. That rule also has problems in itself because
very much.
If you call the goaltend and the team gets it back, they lose the chance at scoring. It's unintended consequences. And yeah, it drives me nuts. Kai, that's why my idea is like a committee of people that just watch basketball and are like, here's what sucks, fix this. Here's
I was just trying to find the
volunteer,
the updated list of the committee. The problem is that there's like the main committee and then there's like the oversight committee. So there's like a group of people who I think are more ball knowers and they recommend, and then there's the people who approve. I just remember I was pissed off because I know Huggins was one of the guys who was leading the flopping and hook and hold thing. And just like we're swatting at flies, like there's bigger fish to fry here, Bob. So I need to refresh my knowledge as to who is on that and who's
which one is kind of losing rice on.
In this case, who's not acting, right? Who is responsible for the inaction that we're seeing?
Yeah. Finally, and this was in favor of Mizzou. Caleb Grill stepped in the line when he shot a 3. They didn't review it. LOL. Florida wins by 1.
I mean, Mizzou
wins by 1. Excuse me.
Yeah. And I don't like the people that are like, oh, that 1 point would have been a tie and gone to overtime. No. Watch Ashton Kutcher, The Butterfly Effect. Things change if you. But yeah, it's wild that of all the things they reviewed, this was not one of them.
Right. Okay. I got that off my chest, guys. But it truly was a tour de force in ridiculousness from a reffing standpoint. I know Jim has some committee stuff to talk about, so probably good.
I got it out of there.
You got it out of there? Okay.
Yep. So I just want a committee of people that tell the power brokers, here's what's bad about watching the game. Fix it. Figure it out. Fix it. Here's some recommendations for how to fix it.
And again, we volunteer as tributes. Okay, Jim, your other thought then.
My other thought is just Team A or Team B. I'm going to make you guys choose. A little game. We mix this in every once in a while on the pod. Try to get 2 teams that are roughly equal-ish and see which direction you guys stand. So we're going to start top of the country. Number 6 versus number 7 in KenPom. Matt, are you taking Florida or Kansas? Which one are you taking?
Florida.
Florida is not even close.
Oh, I love that. How about that?
Not even close. This team is
swing his big Mizzou.
His Mizzou game is not changing.
Florida win.
Nope, they're top 5.
Flexing the Beakers' faces. Yep. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm pro Florida there too. Kansas there's still not a lot of chemistry with the wings, and moving Shaquille Moore into the starting lineup has helped. The defense has gotten a lot better, but there's still odd offensive lulls because the main 3 guys that are back are really weird fits, and they take like all their shots from the mid range. So I'm going to go Florida there as well. Number 2, Illinois or Alabama. I'm going back to Matt because he is the resident Illinois hater. 2 really supposed to be high-powered offenses, 2 monster guards leading the way. Who you got?
Bama. The fact that I hesitated is all the praise that speaks volumes about my admiration for Illinois. But I will go Bama, and it's close, Kai. It's very close.
I think it's very close. I'm going Alabama as well, though.
I'd argue Illinois, Jim. I almost had thought about Illinois' ceiling and another group of teams who I think have really high ceilings, but I might in this game rank them lower. Illinois is a team I think whose ceiling I would have higher than teams maybe ranked ahead of them. I mean, shit, they're 8th in KenPom now, so it's like it's not even like they have a. They might
they're 8th in KenPom with a 10-point home loss without their best player. So I'm going to say Illinois.
Right? Yeah.
I'll go Illinois here. Alabama just hasn't fit. they don't have as much shooting as they typically do. Evan Miyakawa, again, shout out, tweeted about his kill shot stuff, and Bama just doesn't have them anymore. Like they don't put 10-0 runs on people. They're not as explosive. So I'll go Illinois. Kai, Maryland or Pitt? Two teams that maybe are in the mix for the tournament. Pitt with another loss last night, so maybe that dictates your direction.
I've always been low on Pitt this year, so Maryland is my answer. They've actually impressed me.
Matt?
Maryland.
Okay, I don't like either
God,
team.
I'm sticking with the Terps. I'm starting to sour, but I'll stick with them.
I think there's a chance they both miss the tournament. That's what I'm going to throw that out
Yeah.
there. We'll see. Maryland getting swept on the West Coast trip was a little shocking. Don't lose to Washington. That shouldn't happen. Wisconsin or Baylor, number 21 versus number 22 in Ken Palm, two higher powered backcourts. Kai, which direction you going?
I'm taking Baylor, Jim, but it's really close. I think Wisconsin's a great team too, but I'll go Baylor by a nose right now.
Matthew?
Baylor as well. Jimmy's are good.
What
Baylor.
do you think?
I need a healthier Baylor, Jim. Baylor
I'm
is
gonna go
healthy.
Baylor with like the upside of maybe Edgecombe really hits the potential. He hasn't been quite what they expected as a draft pick, and perhaps he can get there. So I'll buy the ceiling a little bit higher with the Bears. The ACC, kind of trying to figure out who the second best team is in that league behind Duke. Maybe it's Clemson, or maybe it's Matthew, UNC, or Louisville. Who you got in this battle? Louisville's cooking lately, for the record.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Louisville. I like both. I still think UNC is underrated, though. I think they're going to be fine. I like both teams a lot. I do.
Yeah, I'm going UNC by a nose, but I'm well aware who's coaching both teams. I'm well aware.
The problem with both these teams is that I think people might actually take them for granted because they play in the ACC. So they're going to need to like continue. Like they're going to probably have some bad losses where everyone's like, "Ah, what the hell is?" It's like, no, I think both teams in the tournament are going to be. I don't know what the over under of projected round is for both, but I think I would take the over for farther. Whatever fake metric that is, I think I like both to go. Maybe second weekend.
UNC's non-con losses were Kansas, Auburn, Michigan State, Alabama, Florida. Like all five of those teams are basically Final Four contenders.
Three are on an island in a convocation gym. That's whatever. So I give them a little bit of pass for that too.
Louisville's only loss in conference is to Duke. UNC's only conference loss is to Louisville. So they have not dropped the mysterious. Oh, how do you lose to that ACC game yet? So keep avoiding that, and you'll be in good shape. 2-11-6 teams. Kai, UCLA, who is reeling right now, and Creighton, who is actually starting to play pretty well right now, despite the Pop Isaacs injury.
Boy, tough one, Jim. I'm still going to go UCLA, but I really wish Cronin would stop with the negativity. Again, he's really almost single-handedly tanked his team for no reason. They beat Gonzaga, they beat Arizona, they beat Oregon. The negativity, I think, is really affecting them as of late.
Yeah, I just want a quick shout out to the whole LA Fire thing. I know that's still bad, and Cronin was distraught after the game about that, and I think it would kind of put it in perspective a little bit for me. I think I think that's actually a bigger negativity that's weighing on him and this team than just them sucking on the road in Big Ten play. I'm going to say Creighton, frankly.
Yeah, I'm taking Creighton too. I think they got the best player with Kalkbrenner, and I don't know. I won't say better coach. One's better on the offensive end, one's better on the defensive end, but Creighton just seems more cohesive. Like they like playing with each other, which is shocking given Jemiah Neal's presence. All right, last one. Two teams that are probably fringe tournament. I don't know if either one will make it, but just curious. Arizona State or Georgetown, Matthias, which one do you actually feel better about?
The Hoyas. Tommy Sorbet and the boys of DC. Yeah, I kind of like the mojo with this Hoya. I think the hype is a little bit it got too exuberant too fast. Like no, they're still not quite in the Big East upper echelon, but I think I trust him more than Arizona State going forward. I know Arizona State's had some injuries too, but I like the Hoyas here by a nose.
I'm going Georgetown by a nose too. They just played the three best teams in the Big East close, pretty well last three games. Should have beaten St. John's. Wish they would have. But yeah, I'm going Georgetown.
Yeah, clean sweep here. Georgetown, they don't have like the Arizona State just lost at home to UCF. Gave up 95 points to that team. I'm skeptical of the Sun Devils. It's the typical Hurley dive in league play. I know it's a new league, but it's kind of a tradition at this point. So I'll go Georgetown. All right, Kai, that's it. That's all my 3-man thoughts. If you want to wrap us up, or we can kick it to Matt if he's got more.
You have any more, Matthew?
I got no more thoughts.
All right,
sorry. I'm gonna table my Go ahead.
Let's talk Ken Pom real quick. I wanted to do this last week, but we ran out of time. We got a little time this week. Ken Pom stalwarts, and then we're going some lopsided lovelies to finish off, bringing back an old segment. So there are 2 teams in the country right now. These are the stalwarts, okay, fellas? The teams to watch out for, Final Four love, national title love, all that jazz. 2 teams in the country, top 10, both offense and defense. Duke is 3rd in offense, 2nd in defense. They're 2nd in the country in Ken Pom. That tells you how good Auburn's offense is. Their offense right now is like a full body length ahead of everybody else. It truly is staggering. But Duke, top 3 in both offense, defense. This team is quite scary. And then Iowa State, 9th in offense and 5th in defense. They are the only other team top 10 on both. 2 very clear title contenders. I don't even think that's an opinion. I think everyone would agree with that, Jim.
Yeah, everybody's got them in their top 5, maybe call it 6. If you want to have Florida, Tennessee, that conversation. But Auburn, Duke, Houston, well, not Houston for some people, but Auburn, Duke, Iowa State, I think are everyone's favorite 3.
Agreed. And speaking of, top 20 in both offense and defense, there are 6 teams outside of Duke and Iowa State. Auburn, number 1 in offense, 15 in defense. No surprise. Houston, and they are counted as a national title contender in my book. 14th in offense, number 1 in defense. Florida, a bona fide national title contender in my opinion as well. 6th in offense, 17th in defense. Little surprise here, maybe. Michigan, 13th on offense, 19th on defense, getting a lot of love, of course, in the media, like Jim talked about. Illinois, Matt's new team, the Illini, 20th in offense and 9th in defense. And then Marquette, barely qualifying, 19th in offense, 18th in defense. Favorite 2 teams from this group, Matt, go.
Auburn.
That's, maybe excluding Auburn.
Auburn, Houston for me.
Auburn, Houston is the answer.
No question.
Yeah, Houston. I just don't want. I've been poo-pooing
He
Houston,
hates
and I'm just
Houston.
like, nah.
He hates
I've watched the last 3 games, and it's just really good. They're just really good. So Auburn, Houston.
Yes. So 8 teams in the country, guys.
Marquette.
Top 20 in both. Marquette.
No, Auburn, Houston.
I think Auburn, Houston as well. And then we'll finish this with lopsided lovelies. These are teams that are unbalanced, really good on offense, atrocious on defense, and vice versa. The top 5 biggest spreads. There are no power teams. There's one power team in this list, so apologies if you're not a mid-major fan. Number 1, offense, North Florida. It's 274 spots between their offense and defense. They're 78th in the country in offense. They're 352nd on defense. This is a typical Matthew Driscoll team down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they were the talk of the town early in the season. Now they're beat Georgia Tech, beat South Carolina, and now they're 1-3 in ASUN play.
The ASUN, again, tough league to bet. South Dakota.
It's a tough league.
It's a tough league. It's a good league.
Actually, it's kind of down this year. Sorry, it's down this year a little bit, but it's still
competitive, we'll say. South Dakota, no surprise, 87th offense, 356 defense, 269 spread. Yeah, their offense is great. Their defense has never been good under Peterson.
Shout out Summit. Shout out to the Summit. The defense they don't play.
Miami, Florida, the one power team here. It's not good if you're a power team and you're a lopsided lovely, I don't think. I think there's a real problem if you're on this list. Well, it's Miami. 266 spots separate their offense, which is 49th, and their defense, which is 315th. It ain't good. It ain't good down there in Miami.
Russ Hainline said they used all 4 timeouts in the first half against Duke. It's like, is that a get me out of here move so we don't have to worry about it in the second half? I don't know. I keep saying it. Sim the season. Who's
their head coach, the interim guy? Patrick? What's his name?
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
He said like they're trying they're just like inventing new defenses to just try at this point. So like it's a experiment gone wrong. Or I don't know, maybe they'll find some like it's 1-1-1-1-2 zone or something that works. I don't know.
Asheville, UNC Asheville in the Big South, 67th offense, 317th defense. Not too surprising. And then North Dakota State, 2 Summit teams up here. 37th offense. We talked about how awesome they are on that end, but they're 283rd on defense, and that's why they're not going to win in the NCAA tournament. They're a sexy pick to win, but yikes, that's hard to overcome.
Unless they pull a Kai, cover your ears, Norfolk State.
Unless they do that.
They could
yes,
score super efficiently, and it's possible.
Defensive end, these are the gross teams. Don't ever watch these teams. It's not fun. Stephen F. Austin, man. I've watched this team. It was a mistake. 286 spots between their defense and offense, which makes them the lopsidedest lovely of them all. 355th on offense, 69th on defense. So Kyle Keller's got his usual defense. he can't figure out on the offensive end right now. It's atrocious. Hofstra, 322nd on offense is Hofstra. This shocked me to see this team here. Speedy Claxton's done very well there. They are top 60 in defense, so they're holding it together, but not a typical Hofstra team, Matthew.
They have my guy Michael Graham from Elon, a guy who I love. He's LMU, and I guess wasn't really a factor, but now he's back with the Silas Sunday beast from Iona. I think right wasn't Sunday on Iona with Patino.
Siena, I believe. Oh no, he was Iona. Iona. You're right.
He's from big dude. It doesn't look like a Hofstra team. It doesn't look. Speedy is not the. He needs to change his nickname to I don't know Beefy Claxton for this year. Slowy Claxton.
It's a far cry from the Mahalich teams that were playing that Mike Forelli zone defense that could not get a stop.
And even Claxton's first few teams they were 73rd and 133rd in offense the last 2 years, and now they're 302nd.
Yeah, wild. They've taken a huge tank. Bucknell, 349th on offense, 106th in defense. Bucknell kind of getting after it on defensive end. By the way, the Patriot, wide open. Completely open. All these teams are projected to go like 9-9. It's hilarious. I mean, Jim, like not quite that, but like a 2-game spread between first and last place in KenPom, I think.
Yeah, it was. Colgate's starting to surge though. They got a road win yesterday without their starting point guard. They're now projected to go 12-6. Ho hum. The Raiders are back again. Yep.
UC Davis, again, don't watch this team. Have done it. 342nd on offense, 108th on defense. No Elijah Pepper is bad news for UC Davis on the offense.
Boy, Eli Pepper.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened? Like first night of the season, it was like, oh, they're competing at Washington. Look how fun this team is. T.Y. Johnson's a darling. Competed a little bit at Stanford, and now it's like shield your eyes.
At Grand Canyon.
He has an 85 O rating on one of the highest usages in the entire country. That's how you end up bad.
And finally, Evansville. Again, not a shocker here. 350th on offense, 120th in defense. Raglan, hey, they've won 3 games in the Valley. They're coming to play. They're a tough team to beat. They're going to play hard every game, but the offensive end is abysmal. Those are the lopsidedest lovelies in the country. Should we go to weekend previews, fellas?
Yeah. The defensive ones are weird to me, Kai. I almost feel like those are more likely to just be random in who they've played on offense. Like, for example, real quick, Hofstra gave up 36 points to Northeastern. Don't know how Northeastern scores 36 points. I actually bet on Northeastern, so you're not going to win many bets when your team you bet on scores 36. But
not a lot, no.
Just the offense tends to make sense. The defense is always like, huh?
Yes, I agree. I was shocked by some of those, Matthew. Okay, weekend previews. Just a couple to hit on. Again, if you want a full breakdown of Saturday's slate, the best slate every single week, we do have a best bet show, 10 a.m. Central on this YouTube channel. Get really in depth with spreads. For now, just kind of touching the highlights, high level. Use KenPom spreads if we're going to talk spreads. But first game I want to touch on real quick. Friday, Boise at New Mexico. Talked about how the Mountain West was sort of up for grabs and really no sure things from an at-large perspective. I would say Utah State's pretty safe right now for an at-large, but both these teams, Mexico and Boise, fighting for it and fighting for a top finish in the Mountain West. Go to Matthew. Who do you think wins this game at the Pit? And KenPom projects it -2, so actually a little bit short, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be, I think,
4 or 5
higher for sure. Yeah, the Pit premium, as I think we've seen many years, the last couple of years especially, and I think it's justified. I think the Lobos take Boise to the woodshed. There's a very clear, I think there's a clear gap in athleticism between these two teams. Boise's very well coached. They're very good. I know Tyson, decent heart, is starting to cut his hair, by the way. He's been making shots since he cut his hair, which I like his old dude better, frankly. But maybe the hair was in his eyes or something, so now he's making shots. But I think the Pit rocks, and they kind of avenge the loss last year at the Pit, right? Boise got him last year.
Overall team speed here is like way heavy tilted to New Mexico, but they're not that much smaller. With Junior Joseph, Amzil, Borvikainen, Arizona transfer, like their guards are not small outside of Dent. I think they can hold up against that immense Boise size, Kai, and then Dent's like navigation in the pick and roll. Maybe he's second to Braden Smith, and you know how clever he is there. Mm-hmm. I think he'll be a real problem for Boise to stop with their lack of team speed.
I'll go to Mexico as well, fellas. Good job. Same page. All right, 5 pack of Saturday games. Boy, Saturdays are always awesome. Like these games we're getting in the SEC and the Big Ten, et cetera, are awesome. Alabama, Kentucky. KenPom's got it 1 in favor of Kentucky. It'll be bet to 3 probably, maybe higher. Kentucky, Alabama, I think is number 1 team in points per game. in the country. I think Kentucky's number 3. So this total is huge. Both fiery offenses. Kentucky's defense in SEC play has been horrible. Dead last in 2-point percentage field goal percentage allowed. 62% people are scoring inside the arc. That's bad. Having said that, I love Kentucky still, Matthew. I still love Mark Pope and this team. I'm leaning their way here at home.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take Kentucky here. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going back to the Jim's question about Alabama versus Illinois. I'm starting to revisit my answer. You're right. Like this Alabama team, is it they can't shoot or they just haven't made shots? That seems like every year we're asking this question. I think it's the same thing last year. It's like, oh, they haven't made shots yet. And they're still awesome. I don't see the same level of shooting caliber on this year's team. I think Youngblood's the guy who you're kind of banking on to make threes, but I don't think the freshman Philip Bond,
Filan.
what's his name?
Filan.
Thank you. Philip Cinnabon. Philip Filan. I don't think he's like a great cheater. So yeah, maybe I like Kentucky here. Sorry, just kind of circling back to my thoughts on the Alabama big picture discussion earlier.
Yeah, there's like no spacing. Nelson's 25% from 3. Darian Reed, who missed last game, keep an eye on his status, 28% from 3. Aiden Sherrill, 19. Jaron Stevenson, 22. Diabate's 3 of 10. He doesn't shoot. Like, you don't respect anyone in their front court shooting the ball, so you can cramp the driving lanes. They're still a little tougher, a little more of an under team this year, despite the defense still not like all the way there, but Omori's certainly helped. Alabama off the loss spooks me, but I will lean Kentucky and pick them to win, Kai.
Big Ten, Purdue goes out to Oregon. And Oregon's Kimball's got Oregon -1. I'll tell you what, fellas, I still am not totally bought in on Oregon. I don't get a great fuzzy feeling from them. They're winning games by the skin of their teeth. Hey, impressive beating Ohio State and Penn State on the road still. They're not bad teams, but they won by 1 possession each of those games. Maryland was 2-possession game. Hey, they're just skating by, and it's been that all season. I think Purdue is really clicking, as we talked earlier, on both ends of the floor. I'm going Boilers on the road to get a victory here, Jim.
Nah, I got Ducks.
Yeah,
here. I know.
I'm,
Jim, you Ducky.
I'm going Purdue. Oregon's down in like every game, and they come back and win. Like I think Joe Jackson, a great Big Ten writer, tweeted out like their win probabilities in the second half of every game are like 25%.
Yeah.
They find a way to come back. They're clutch. Shellstad is starting to really shoot it, and he's made big shots. But that's really tough to rely on a team with a great backcourt like Purdue. I think the Boilers get it done. Maybe not in as emphatic fashion as Illinois did out there, but I'll go Purdue, Maddie.
Yeah, I just think it's tough that Purdue's got to play quick turnaround on the West Coast. First time they've done that, and then you have Oregon who's got that week off since last Sunday. So I don't know. I think it does set up for a good Oregon type of performance here. And I do think they just have a lot more size and length that Purdue didn't see against Washington. A game they were basically down 10 points at half, by the way. So I think it's gonna be nip and tuck. I think Oregon wins this game though. I think it's close, but Oregon wins this game.
Love it. Okay, balance. Yes. Big 12. I would call this game a must-win for Texas Tech. Ken Palm's got it -3 against Arizona, who's coming to town. Arizona 5-0 in the Big 12, trying to stay at the top of the standings there. Texas Tech, man, their wins, they've gotten it done on the road in Big 12 play, ironically. They're 3-0 on the road. They're 0-2 at home so far with loss to UCF, and we talked about that overtime game with Iowa State. They need this win, Jim, I think, for their tournament resume. It's getting a little dire and getting a little shaky, but Arizona's rolling. It's tough. I'm going home court. I'm going with the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech finally gets the statement win they badly need. They're 17th in Ken Palm, and they're not in like half of bracketology right now. They're like an 11 seed because they just don't have the stuff to back up what their analytics are telling you. I think those will come along eventually. They really almost got it against Iowa State, but I think they get it here. They're starting to get a little more in sync. Elijah Hawkins has played great at point guard. You worry about Arizona's size in the backcourt. Bradley's a great defender, but if Toppin starts to really trend up, which they need from him in the paint, Kyle say Lubbock home court gets it done after coming up just short last Saturday.
Love it. We'll skip Matt. He's tending to a baby, most likely. Oh, he's right there.
Raiders win.
Thank you, Matthew.
Nice.
Egg Bowl, SEC, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Ole Miss going on the road. They're 4-0 in the SEC. Very impressive win at Alabama last time out. Mississippi State has dropped 2 straight, but heck, they've played Kentucky and Auburn, two arguably the best 2 teams outside of Tennessee and Florida. I mean, heck, there's too many good teams in this league. This one's interesting. Jim, I really have a hard time picking a winner in this one. I think KenPom's got it. Mississippi State 4. A little surprising there. Just given Ole
Yeah, this is
Miss
going to be
actually ranks
the
ahead of them.
yeah, this is going to be the buy low, sell high spot. I
Yeah.
mean, Ole Miss wins on the road at Alabama. Mississippi State's last 2 in a row. I think we'll see your Stuckies and your people that are
On
really
Mississippi
into the
State.
spots. You're going to be paying a tax. If it's 3 at KenPom right now, it's probably 5 in the market. So if you're betting that, that's a concern. I'm going to find out what Riley Kugel's up to. He missed last game, and I think he actually matters quite a bit for Mississippi State as a big defender. He's really good on that end, playmaker, scorer, just a little more size in the backcourt. So I'll be keeping an eye on Kugel, but Kai, I think Mississippi State does win.
Matthew, Mississippi
Jans.
State, Ole Miss. Yeah, I agree. I think it's
Yeah,
Jans too.
bounce
But
back.
little regression perhaps too in Mississippi State's favor. Ole Miss opponents 20% from 3 in league play, and Ole Miss is shooting sub 28% from 3 in league play. So a little positive regression hopefully coming for Mississippi State. Finally on Saturday, we're gonna go one ACC game. And speaking of must wins, man, this might be for Pittsburgh. They host Clemson. They've lost 3 straight now. They lost at Florida State recently. Their wins are not looking that great anymore. They have a couple in their belt, but not a lot. Clemson, much stronger resume, but still not impervious to missing the tournament. Pitt's got this one like -3 per KenPom. I think Clemson's defense is tough. They're going to cause a lot of problems for Pittsburgh in terms of ball handling. Matthew, Clemson or Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got that big lineup that they've been boasting, right? Which I know is getting some. That's why their defense has been so good. I think Lockins passed that stupid LLC has. He seems to be a beast. And Pitt, they've been frustrated with their bigs. I think they love their guards, but they're 2 guard reliant. That's been kind of Pitt's bugaboo, right? The Sam Corn pickup hasn't been as great. The Grahams haven't been as great as we thought. The Federico loss is big. I think the bigs win this one for Clemson.
I was never a believer in the Grams. I'll point that out, please.
Corn was terrible against Florida State. His homecoming last night was awful.
I know the revenge game did not play out, right?
Not at all. I'm just going to draw the line here, Pitt. If you don't win this game, I think you miss the tournament. You need to show you can beat a tournament quality team. Some of the non-con wins may not age as great as you hope. I don't think LSU is going to age that well. We'll see about Ohio State. This is a big line in the sand game for Pitt.
Yep. I have toss up for me. I think Clemson's a better team, in my opinion. So, yeah, Pitt, time to put up or shut up. Finally on Sunday, a doozy of a Big Ten game. Woo. Matthew, tune into this one, man. Illinois goes to Michigan State. Michigan State, again, number 1 offense and defense in Big Ten play. It's the number 1 offensive rebounding team in conference play in Michigan State versus the number 1 defensive rebounding team in the conference in Illinois. Strength versus strength. Both teams, again, kind of young, we talked about. Michigan State's rolling. Illinois, dangerous as heck. Casper Yakuchionis is back. Matthew, your thoughts. KenPom does have this one -2 in favor of Michigan State.
At Michigan State, this is the last kind of hurrah for all Illinois fans can put this on the bulletin board for one last game, and then I'll probably pick the ILLs in every game the rest of the year after this one. Michigan State wins this one. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I think the guard play has been a lot better than expected with Fears and Holloman playing together. They've got a little bit more creation. They're up to 35% from deep in league play. Mm-hmm. Michigan State's actually making threes. I think that matters. Shows up a little bit here. Illinois has been really, really good and just wiped Indiana on the road, but I think Michigan State's toughness and physicality at the rim prevails here.
Frankie Fiddler with 118 O rating despite shooting 8 of 44 from 3.
He's improved a lot.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, he had a rough start to the year.
Doesn't turn over, which is nice, I guess. So that helps.
Hey, former Omaha. Again, Omaha's like better without him, which is weird.
Yep.
Okay, let's finish off the podcast with a quick review section. We do have 2 reviews. Again, thank you out there for joining us. If you'd like to stick around for the reviews, please do. We have a couple questions here, which is good. From YouTube, from, you know what? I forgot to write down the name. I'm so sorry. I think it's Brad Soderberg, I believe it is. Or Soderberg. Not Brad Soderberg. That's a coach. But it is Soderberg. Brian Soderberg, I think. Love your show. Great insight on so many teams. Love hearing about the under-the-radar teams and the great undervalued coaches in the game. Would love to hear each of you comment on 3 to 4 under-the-radar teams that might make some noise in their conference and tournament. Also, any underrated coaches that the audience should know. Matthew, do you have any coaches at the top of your head that are underrated in your opinion? I feel like you're a coach whisperer.
We talked about some of them in my thoughts section. I think Johnny Tower is a name I don't bring up enough. I mean, I don't know what St. Thomas can do. So Mike McPayo out at UC Riverside. I think I've said his name plenty. Um, who else?
Andy Newman, Cal State Northridge. I'll put him in there.
Yeah,
They haven't been
he's
inside the
done
top
good work.
200 in Ken Palm in like 15 years, and they're 156th.
Hey, Kansas fans, check out Marcus Adams. He looks it's funny to watch him play. He looks like an older, like kind of that old annoying guy at the Rec who's really talented at and whatever. He's really good. He's got some good talent, but he's also a great coach. I agree with that one.
I'll throw in Ross Hodge from North Texas. He gets no love, but he's kept that program afloat after
totally
McCaslin's gone away. They're 60th in Ken Palm. Impressive. As far as teams go, under the radar in terms of conference.
Tim Miles,
Tim Miles,
obviously, and then Joe Gallo at Merrimack. Joe Gallo at Merrimack's been great too. So
in the Big East tournament, I think frankly Villanova and Georgetown are both pretty dangerous to make a bit of a run in that conference tournament. If you want to go like kind of gross under the radar, those would be two teams I would look at in the Big East. Nova. I would not sleep on St. Mary's in general in the NCAA tournament. They're not getting any love, but they're crushing teams right now in the WCC. I'm hoping they can get in the tournament. Despite their resume, they don't have a stellar one by any means. Our Missouri Tigers, of course, Jim. No, I won't say them. VCU, though, similarly, if they get into the tournament, VCU is a big one for the A-10.
Yeah, really experienced guards for the Rams. I think that's a dangerous, dangerous team. I'm going to throw in Wake Forest. Stubbornly can't quit the Deeks. They're actually really playing well right now, maybe in the mix for second best team in the conference. They can't shoot really still, and they don't shoot much, but the defense has been legit. Efton Reed kind of shuts things down there, and Salas has been going like completely off.
Yeah.
Last night, basically won them the game against Stanford, just going nuts down the second half. His last
the problem is that his sidekick stinks, Jim.
Yeah, Hildreth's bad.
Last review, excuse me, from Go Hatters. Ooh, love the show. As a father of a young child, I can't watch so many games I used to. I love how in-depth y'all get and the banter your friendships bring out. As a former Stetson Hatter, I appreciate how you take the time to cover the small and mid-major teams and conferences. Keep up the good work. From Robert. We did touch on a lot of low and mid-majors today, so hopefully you found that interesting or at least fun to listen to, Robert. Your Stetson Hatters this year, hey, you're 2-2 in the A-Sun, so you can hang your head on that one despite the fact that they are having one of their worst years in their Ken Palm history. Donnie Jones, though, got made the tournament last year. Yeah.
They made the tournament more recently than Mizzou and Indiana.
That's
our
right.
Alma maters. So
there you go.
He's got that one up on us.
He definitely does. Okay. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. Again, we are back for our Best Bets show on Saturday, 10 a.m. Central, breaking down the entire slate from a betting perspective. Please check out the Discord. The link is in the description to this video. Best college basketball community in the entire world. Shirley Donovan has done some amazing things bringing people together in there. So do check that out. $6 a month, about the price of a Starbucks coffee right now. Okay.
It's a bargain.
It's a bargain. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Enjoy basketball.